And it used to come to my line, and I go, let's head up to Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran. And you're looking very green today.
Well, you know what Kermit the Frog said? Oh, it might have been his nephew. Not easy being green, but I make an effort for you, Seamie, as always. Now, your original suggestion that I was 90% there on the way to looking like a flying monkey anyway. Why don't I go the whole hog? Well, while that was an appreciated text, I decided not to go that, nor could I do full witch. So, I'm hoping that I look a bit like the Wizard of Oz himself, old Emerald City.
Emerald City, yeah, I'll give you
Yeah,
that. I'll give you that. You've made the effort.
there's a
Not
lot of
much of an
green in
effort,
this.
but you've made an effort.
I don't know if I quite have the royalty, the gravitas
The
that Jeff Goldblum
gravitas.
brings to it. Although let's face it, Jeff Goldblum is one of those actors, and he plays the Emperor there. And like, people are, especially our age, all the memories are going to go back to the Wizard of Oz. The
Yeah.
original, this Wizard of Oz. No matter what he does, he's still Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's always Jeff Goldblum in every movie, but he's not in it so much. So I suppose I've given away what we're talking about most here anyway. So we're talking about Wicked, which is one, like, up there with Hamilton as being one of the biggest Broadway and West End shows. Lots of our listeners will know it from, because it plays the board gosh on a regular basis. It's come around. I'm sure it's been in secondary school musicals and everything like that. And the idea behind it is, why did the Wicked Witch of the West, I'm melting, our favorite character from Wizard of Oz, as you grow up and you go down, what made her that way? What made her so wicked? And this is the story behind it. Do you want to play a clip?
You're the one the Wizard of Oz has been waiting for.
Something has changed within me.
You're green.
I am.
Bring her to me.
This Wicked Witch.
Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid. It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
Oz was different, and all I can say is, was that a goat? It was.
Yes, it was, and it's great. Peter Dinklage, which loads of people will recognize the voice, but we don't see the pictures. People who got the voice, from Game of Thrones, and look, that's kind of sums up the plot nicely. So that's Glinda, the good fairy that everyone will remember from the original Wizard of Oz, and in it, so Glinda says she's good, and everything she says, I'm doing this because I'm so good. But really, is it that good? When everyone says so good. And this really reminded me of, if you remember Legally Blonde, if you remember that. And it's Ariana Grande is kind of playing that sort of character. Except the thing about Legally Blonde was she was very morally good. Whereas Glinda, the jury is out. Whereas still not so. She's a spoiled, pampered princess who assumes she's entitled to be the top, wizard, which in this university they go to. And then Cynthia Evero is Elphia, the Wicked Witch, who will become the Wicked Witch of the West. She is bringing her sister to college. She's not part of it, but she displays a bit of magic. She's brought in. Nobody likes her because literally she is green. Nobody else is green. They're every other color, every other race, but nobody else is green. And she stands out, and she's so unpopular, and they're all making fun of her. But she has the power. Wow. She has something that nobody else has. Now, she also has an amazing voice, as does Ariana Grande. And this is, it is very much a musical. It's another line of films that in the trailer, there's not that much singing, but I think people know this is a musical. And it's funny. Some things people object to as musicals, some people don't. Do you remember this time last year, Wonka was a huge hit, and this kind of reminded me of Wonka a bit. Wonka was a musical. Nobody gave out about it because it felt is part of the
what it should be,
of the flow of the movie, and I think this will be the same. Everything about this is big. They must have spent so much money. And I was saying to you off air, it really feels that they've built a lot of sets. I think following on from Barbie, where they built so many sets, they actually ran out of pink paint in the UK for a couple of months. That's how much how much they used. Here, there might have been green and pink. As well. The sets are amazing. Emerald City looks amazing. Obviously, there's computers used, but they obviously built a lot of stuff. The Munchkin Village, the flowers, the yellow brick road, all of that stuff is just spectacular. And the movie starts where most of our memories of the movies end, where Glinda is saying, yes, ding dong, the Wicked Witch is dead. And then somebody says, how did you know her? And it goes back to the story. I have to say, I don't think I'm the target audience for this. I'm not big into big Broadway stuff. I don't mind a musical. I'm more School of Rock, Grease musical than the big Jazz Hands musical. But I really enjoyed this today. Some of the songs I have never heard before. People will know these so well. But the big hitters like Defying Gravity at the end, like you go, ah. And I knew the title because it's done all the blurbs, you know. I knew the title, but I didn't know the song. And then you hear it and you go, well, that's why that's a famous song. Do you know the way you just go, bang? They're great. Ariana Grande is very funny as this kind of spoiled, pampered princess who may or may not turn to be good, may not. You know, Cynthia Everett is prickly and upset. And is she being defensive or is she just protecting herself? We don't know. All of this stuff is great. Jeff Goldblum is the wizard behind the curtain. And quite early he's revealed that, you know, he's a normal guy behind the curtain. But what's really going on? Now, one thing they've kind of dropped from the titles is that it was originally called Wicked Part 1. And it's very much Wicked Part 1. But I think it's more that they said it's a film in itself. In the way lots of movies are, this is the first half of the story. It is self-contained. It's 2.5 hours long, Seamie. And the fact that there's so many songs, and I was entertained all the way through, it says how good it is. Now, if I'm honest, I think you could have cut 5 minutes or 10 minutes, one or two with the songs, but I think they're probably fan favorites. And there's a little cameo from two of the stars who made the most famous on Broadway, and they're in it in a different part. And I got that bit and I went, oh, that's really funny and really clever. I think fans of musicals will love it. Fans of princess stories, things like that, will love it. Anybody who likes big scale cinema, big sets, spectacular set pieces, and you'd be glad to hear, Seamie, it is I would say the first time you saw The Wizard of Oz, it wasn't today or yesterday. You know, I'm not saying you're long on the tooth, but you probably would have seen it. And the Flying Monkeys, I'm sure, scared the bejesus out of you when you first saw them, like they did nearly everyone listening. I have to say, I thought, well, you know, I'm old enough now, that's not going to happen. And then there's a scene I went, oh my God, the Flying Monkeys. So I think it is a 12s. I think it'd be fine for younger people who really want to see it. If you feel they could sit through all the stuff, they'll be enraptured by the fashion, the songs and all that, and maybe cuddle up to mum or dad during a few of the Flying Monkey scenes. But it's really good. It's going to be really popular. And this following on from Paddington, from Gladiator, from Small Things, like it's such a big time for cinema, and I think it's really impressive. I'd be dying to hear what people think of it, but it's really thumbs up for me. And I thought I was going to have to come on and lay this a bit thick and kind of pretend I liked it a wee bit more than I did. But
no, you never do that anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I'm always honest.
Look,
but sometimes I gotta go, not for me, but it's other people like it. But I liked it much more than I thought I would.
Well, I'm a big musical fan, and I'm a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, well, then you're gonna love it. Love it. Come up and see it. Definitely the director's lounge for this one, though, for the bum, because it's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, but it's great, and it looks great. I went through, you sent me up all the details during the weekend. I went through all things. God, it looks absolute. Compared to the original Wizard of Oz, there's such a huge difference in like 60 years since the other one was made.
But two things. One, you know, that was pretty mind blowing at the time. You can imagine when it was in black and white and suddenly it turned into color. If you were sitting in the theater,
that's right.
Right then. But of course, The Wizard of Oz was a flop. It's up there with The Shawshank Redemption as one of the most beloved movies that everyone at the time said, load of rubbish, and now is a beloved movie. So there you never go. And we'll get to that when we talk about our Mr. Monday, but we won't go there yet.
Okay. The Magic Reindeer saving Santa's sleigh.
Yes, Santa's sleigh has been saved. Will everything turn out okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will, because this is for under 8s. So everyone's going to be happy. But what is great about this, along the lines that we were saying last week about Cillian Murphy and everyone's there, this is made with a Finnish company and a company based in Galway. So it's great to have a little Irish movie. It's kind of for under 8s, under 7s. It looks very cute. It's all about being a good reindeer and being nice to your brother and sister reindeer. So it's a lovely message for Christmas. And this is, if you're a bit too wee for Wicked, this would be a lovely movie to see this weekend.
Okay, and not too long.
And not too long at all. No. About an hour and 20 minutes, I think.
An hour and 20 minutes. Perfect. That's The Magic Reindeer saving Santa's sleigh. You know that Christmas is coming. You do.
Yeah.
And that is opening when?
That opens tomorrow as well.
That opens tomorrow, like Wicked, which opens.
Both movies are open tomorrow. Yeah.
Open tomorrow. Now, Mr. Monday, you are, like we were talking earlier, you're bringing back Joker.
Yeah, Joker, probably the most controversial, most talked about movie of the year, where famously, of course, Roy Keane, Mark Kermode, Quentin Tarantino, and me might have been the only people who seem to like it. Although there's kind of been a backlash against the backlash. And you know what's funny about it? It seems to be, if you loved the first one, you didn't like this so much. If you didn't care for the first one, you thought this was pretty good, which is a hell of a way to make movies. It's a terrible way to make money, but it's a really interesting way to make movies. And, it has its musical parts. And I wonder, and I didn't think of this until I mentioned it about 30 seconds ago, things that were flops that have been reassessed. I think this is one of them. But look, if you were curious to see it, to see what the fuss was about, see if it was good, bad, or indifferent, it's only a $5 this Monday. Surely this is the time to give it a go and have a watch. I think it's much more interesting than people did. But I think, when you go in expecting one thing and it doesn't happen and the carpet's pulled from under your feet, sometimes your backlash, you go, that's rubbish. And it's not rubbish. It's just not what you thought it was going to be. I think Joaquin Phoenix is still great and Gaga is great. So it is interesting. So I'm pleased it's coming back for one night only.
And you want to wrap up with
a couple of special screenings. Yes, I've raved and raved about small things like these, and it's great in that in a time when we've such mega movies like Wicked and Gladiator 2 and so on, small things like these, a small Irish movie is holding its own. But there's 2 special screenings. One, there's a subtitle screening, and people are always asking for this, whether it's because English is second language or people don't have great hearing, and especially it's such a quiet movie. So there's a subtitled screening on Monday, and also there's a parent and baby screening on Thursday morning. There's loads of people who love their movies, but they can't really go with cinema. So that's on Thursday. So I just wanted to shout them out.
Okay, thanks for that. That is Collie on Movies, and that's all from Eclipse Cinemas in Bundoran. Until next Thursday.
Bye.